So first things first, drain your tin of jackfruit. Pop it onto your chopping board. And what we need to do is we need to discard of all the tough parts. So at the end, there will be little tough stalks. We are removing them, and any pips, we are removing the pips as well. And we need a cloth because we are going to squeeze out any excess liquid. We don't want any water in any of this. So all of the tough parts we're going to remove. Any of the large pips we're also going to remove. And then we're going to get a piece of cloth, a J-cloth, a cheesecloth, kitchen towel, whatever you have available. We're going to lay it out on our chopping board. Scoop up all of the jackfruit. Trust the process with this one. Jackfruit is a beautiful product. Really, I mean, our board's pretty messy right now, but we're going to come back to that. It really is a beautiful product. You can pack it with so much flavour. So all we're going to do is squeeze, really put some muscle into it and squeeze as much liquid as you possibly can out of this jackfruit. Now, once you've done that, we're going to clean the board because, as you can see, mine is very wet and I'm sure yours is too. Okay, mixing bowl. Jackfruit onto your chopping board. You're going to take a knife and you're going to finely chop the jackfruit, okay? So let's really get in there. I love this sort of dish midweek, you know. For me, right now, I'm just going to tear in some seaweed. For me, I love deconstructed sushi. So what I would do is I'll make a little bit of jackfruit crab, have some rice on the side, some pieces of seaweed, and it makes the perfect lunch. So it's so easy to come together, really quick. Store cupboard staple, you know, jackfruit is an ambient product, doesn't really go off. And what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to go back in and chop. So on my board, we are going to chop everything on the board and then put it into the bowl. So keep your knife nearby, keep all your ingredients nearby. We're putting the seaweed in. We're taking a handful of our spring onions, we're popping that in. A teaspoon of our Korean gochujang paste. A tablespoon of mayonnaise. You can always add a little bit more if necessary. And a little drizzle of maple syrup. Chop all of that sauce all in there. Really gather it into one place and then chop again. And we're going to keep going until everything is nicely combined. Now, jackfruit, you can turn it into, you know, a tuna substitute as well if you don't like the idea of having it like this. And then you can add a different flavour profile into that as well. So at this point, if you feel you haven't added enough mayonnaise, you feel you haven't added enough gochujang, you like it a little bit more spicy, then you could add in some Korean flakes. You could add a bit more sweetness if you feel you've gone a bit too overboard. Don't worry too much. Okay? And if you're at that point where you think it's nice and ready, scoop and into your bowl. Now at that point you are going to need to give it a little bit of a wipe again. So let's just quickly do that. And then we are up to plating our final dish of this course. So let's grab our plate. Plating our crispy rice. So just in a straight line, we're going in with the crispy rice. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a spoon, pop a little bit of jackfruit into our hand, and we're just going to make it into a quenelle shape. So a little bit oval, and you're just going to pop that onto the top of each piece of rice. Now, the course today really is perfect if you are having friends round, you're having family round, or if you're just having a night in and you fancy getting creative in the kitchen. The idea around this course is really to play around with flavours, textures, different foods. You know, there is no harm in treating our kitchens like a little bit of a playground where we can experiment. If things work, they work. If they don't work, then we know we don't do it again. Now to finish off, all we're going to do is same with the rest of our dishes. A little bit of a sprinkle of spring onion across the top. And a little bit of sesame across the top.